All right, what's up, guys? My name is Tillman. I'm from Edmond, Oklahoma. I've been a professional for probably 3 or 4 years now. My current rating is 10-12, I believe. I have a couple sponsors: Innova Champion Discs, Thrower's Choice out of Dallas, Texas, and Duck's Pro Shop out of Wichita, Kansas. Duck has a big tournament coming up, probably one of the biggest payouts in the region for sure. It's called Keeper of the Chains. And it's coming up here in a couple weeks, so if you're not signed up, you should get signed up for it. There's not very many people signed up yet, so I know the AMs are getting like a $200+ players pack, and I think last year first place in pro was like $1,500 or $1,600. So, and the courses are really fun. So I'm going to show you what's in my bag here. I carry the Grip AX15. I've always carried a Grip. I'll probably never own anything else. Probably the best bag on the market. So we'll start with the putters first. I got 2 throwing putters, 3 putting putters. My 2 throwing putters, AVR X3, 175 grams, really overstable. I can turn it over about as hard as I possibly can, and it just goes dead straight, hyzers out. Next up is an old 2-ring San Marino Star AVR. It's got a Biggie Smalls die on it. I actually outbid Drew Gibson for this, so hopefully Drew doesn't want this any more than I do. Thanks, Drew. My putting putters, I got 2. Every time I putt, I got to have something in my offhand. So this is my main putter. Pretty much any time from 80 feet and in, you'll see me throwing this one. And with these 2 in my hand. But if I ever lose these are the same thing. They're old 2-ring San Marino KC AVRs. I don't use the white ones. The white ones are really hard. These are extremely soft for KC AVRs. They're really grippy. I mean, they're basically DX AVRs, but with the kind of the KC mold, the flat top, blunt nose. So, and then this one's really cool. I wiped the stamp off of it so you can see the swirls a little bit better. Next, we'll go to my utility discs. I carry a 175 flat top Firebird. I throw the pearly ones, not the opaque, chalky looking ones. These just seem to last a little bit longer. They really hold up their stability for, I mean, ever. I've had this one for like a year and it's still basically brand new. The last one I had before I lost it, I carried it for probably 4 years or so, and it flew just like the day I got it. The other disc that I carry, utility disc anyway, is a Glow Max. It is a Mutant Frisbee, and it's by far the most overstable disc I've ever seen anybody throw, let alone the most overstable disc I've ever thrown. It has this really crazy like pop top on it. Whenever I throw it on a hyzer, instead of tracking off to the left, it comes down almost straight vertical. I can throw it forehand, basically on a roller angle, and it comes out, skips. I mean, you can throw it, I've thrown it like this to get around a corner or something, and it's skipped over 100 feet, just kind of skipping and rolling and sputtering along. All right, we'll go to the fairway drivers. We'll start understable. I carry a CE QJ LS from the 2002 Norman Pro-Am. I was actually given this for my birthday by my buddy Jared, and it's pretty overstable for a QJ, but if you've ever thrown a QJ, you know that that's not very stable. Next, I carry 3 Discmania CD2s. I throw 2 C-Line first runs. This one's been in my bag since they came out in 2014.
Chuck, you gonna help come and get us out?
I've been carrying this one since 2014. It's extremely understable. This is my go-to. I mean, anytime I pull this disc out of my bag, I know it's going to do exactly what I want it to do, and I would say it might have the most birdies out of anything in my bag. This is the same thing, obviously different color, a little bit more new. Pretty overstable. It flies all like a PD. If you've ever thrown a PD, just a little bit more turn on it before it hyzers out. And then I've got this newer swirly S-Line one. Of course, I bought this for way too much money right before the stock runs came out, but it's awesome. I've only thrown it for a month or so now, so I'm still kind of figuring it out, but so far it's been really nice. It's kind of right in between those two. Next up, I carry 2 T-Birds. They're actually TLs. This one is they're both second run CETLs. This one has a real dimply top. I've figured out that the ones with the dimply top seem to be more overstable. And it's kind of weird because the more I beat it in, the more dimples it gets, the more overstable it gets. This one, same thing, got the dimples, but it's like almost brand new. It's still got flashing around the edges, and I'm still kind of working it in. I had to take it out of the bag all winter, so I didn't break it and cry on the course. So hopefully by the end of the summer, this thing will be my go-to. And then I carry two first-run C-Line PDs. I just bought this one from a buddy in Stillwater, and it has a Team Catfish stamp, whatever Team Catfish is. They're both 175 grams, really flat, overstable, like a faster Firebird. So that's the overstable one. This Team Stamp one, I've thrown it for a couple years now, and it's still very overstable, but it kind of pops up a little bit flat. And I'm using these for probably any kind of flex to hyzer shot up to probably 410, 420 feet. So we'll go to the mid-ranges now. We'll start understable. I carry a Ching Rock, 180 grams. This is the Stripe Mullet stamp. This is probably one of my favorite stamps of any disc I've ever owned. I have 2 or 3 of these, and I just kind of cycle them in and out. This is my least stable one, and it's got me paid a couple times. And I use it for rollers. I use it for turnovers, hyzer flips, whatever. Great disc. This is a 9-time KC Rock. It is kind of the softer plastic. They make a soft one and a hard one. This one's really old, flat. Obviously, there's no more stamp left on it. When I got it, it was brand new, so that tells you how long I've been throwing it. This one's been aced a couple times, except I didn't let anybody sign it because it was still new and pretty when I aced with it. That thing just does anything I want it to. If I want it to hyzer, it hyzers. If I want it to turn, it turns. That's probably the straightest disc in my bag as far as mid-ranges go. And it's the good old, like I said, the soft plastic, so I'm not scared to throw it in the cold or whatever. I know it's probably never going to break. I say that it's going to break today. But next up, I got 2 more rocks. One is a 180 gram Glow Rock 3. I got this right when I got sponsored by Innova. This was the very first Team Stamp disc that I ever picked up at Worlds in Emporia. I got it, it was really overstable, and now it's the perfect kind of flip up disc. It's a little bit more stable than the 9-time, and obviously a little bit faster. I use this for any kind of shot, turnover, hyzer, dead straight, up to probably 350, 370-ish. And the last rock in my bag is a 2004, I guess like maybe a claw rock, I don't know what it's called, but it's really flat, really overstable. The nice like fingerprinty kind of 11-time style plastic. This thing is, I carry some gaiters too, and this thing is just under the stability of my gaiters. So it's really a go-to in the windy days here in Oklahoma. Next up is a first run champion gaiter. This is the circle stamp, whatever wreath stamp I guess is what they call it. 175 grams. I've carried this forever. I actually won this in a bet, my buddy James, on a CTP of the last hole of a tournament in Hera. He told me that if I could get CTP on my card, he would give me this disc. And so, of course, I threw this gaiter to CTP and got it for free. So, thanks, James. And the other one is a flat top glow gaiter. It has my home course tournament stamp on it. We went through the whole box of gaiters, and this was the only flat top one, so of course I had to have it. And it just, extra bonus that it has the rainbow stamp, and they actually misspelled Edmund on it, so it's kind of special to me. I don't know why. But it also has my buddy Brad's initials on it. That's kind of the guy that taught me how to play, kind of mentored me coming up into the sanctioned golf and kind of turning professional and what it took to be a professional. So that's good. Those are all useless now. All right, on to the distance drivers. We'll start, I kind of sort them by color. I sort everything by color, if you could tell. So the 3 yellows. This one is a legendary disc named Doyle. It has the Jeremy Martin stamp, which is another tournament coming up here in Oklahoma City. Probably one of the best non-sanctioned tournaments in the country. We got 2 courses. It's filled for, I think this is like the maybe 11th or 12th year. I don't know, 13th. It's been a long time, and I've never once seen it not fill up. So this is an old SDS patent number destroyer, but it's really beat up. Distance rollers. I probably rolled this thing 500-600 feet before, and it flies just as good as it rolls. Forehand, flip up shots, everything. If I had to pick one destroyer to play with the rest of my life, Doyle would be it by far. Got this for $5 from Doyle himself. Thanks, Doyle. Next up is a 3-line AJ with a little team stamp on it. You can see that it probably sat out in the sun really long at some point. I mean, this is exactly what you want a destroyer to be. You can turn it over, you can hyzer flip it, whatever. It's not going to roll over, but it's not a meat hook either. My girlfriend actually bought this for me for like $10 from somebody, and it was almost brand new besides the discoloration. So, of course, I had to put it in my bag. It started as just a water disc for anywhere that I might need to, throw some risky shot over the water or risk losing it, and it's turned into one of my favorite discs. Next up is another old patent number SDS destroyer. The Dayglow ones are obviously probably the most sought after ones, I would say. This has a tournament stamp from my home course tournament, same as the Gator, but different year. I've carried one of these destroyers with this stamp in my bag since I've started playing. The very first mini I ever played at my home course, I got this in my payout, and it's been in my bag ever since. It's still very overstable, really glidey, and probably my second longest flying disc in the bag. Next up is kind of the odd colors that I only carry one of. This is just your everyday embossed Star Destroyer. It's got the little team stamp on the front. You can see where it's been next to all the other colored discs bleeding onto it. It's got the bottom stamp on it. The last shipment of discs I got, I had a bunch of them with the big team stamps, and I had one with the little one. I said, oh, that's cool, and picked it up, and it happened to be the only bottom stamp one, too. So it was destiny that it went in the bag. It's super overstable. This is probably the second most overstable one in the bag. This one, I'm trying to think where I got this. I don't remember where I got it. This was the very first embossed destroyer I ever saw in the store or on the shelf. And they had 2 just like this, exact same color. I thought it was kind of a cool color, like a Merlot color. And so I picked it up, kind of like the team stamp one. I got it for a water disc and ended up falling in love with it. It flies exactly like the old SDS ones that I always loved, except instead of $80, it cost me like, 16 bucks. So that one's going to stay in until I either lose it or I don't think it's ever going to beat in. I've carried it for like 2 years or at least a year or so, and it hasn't beat in one bit. The next one is the most overstable destroyer in my bag. This is I believe they call this like the Hypno Huck maybe stamp. And I know that Eagle carries a PD2 with this same stamp, and he says that those are the most overstable PD2s. So I don't know if they got a freak shipment of all their discs that were just super overstable. If it's something with the stamp, I don't know what it is. But this is by far the most overstable destroyer I've ever owned. And my last 2, if you've ever played with me, you've for sure seen this disc fly. If you've ever seen me on YouTube, if you've ever seen me across the course, you've seen this disc fly. This is another old marbly SDS destroyer, 168 grams. The 168s and the SDSs are by far the best weight you can get. They're still really overstable, but you can kind of make them work. This is the longest flying disc in my bag for sure. I threw this into the middle of the pond in the final 9 at the Norman Pro-Am one year, and it was at least 150 feet off the bank from every side. And a couple years later, somebody brought it back to me. They had scribbled out my name on the top, and it sat in the pond so long that their Sharpie wore off. So it's back to me, and I'll never get rid of it. That'll be in the bag forever. And the last one, this one flies a lot like Doyle. It's a pre-flight number, pre-AJ Star Destroyer. I call this my cotton candy because it's kind of got some pink swirls in it. And it flies a lot like Doyle does, but maybe a little bit more overstable. I can throw this on really, really long distance roller lines, big, tall, like nose up anhysers. And I know that it's going to turn, but it's always going to come back just a little bit at the end. Some other stuff I carry in my bag. I've got my end of a towel. I don't know. I don't remember what these are called, but these are the best towels that you can use for disc golf because they dry everything really well and then they dry out really quick instead of keeping that moisture in it forever. And as far as like birdie bags or whatever you want to call it, this is a Y-Dry bag from Tara Y of kind of a local in Tulsa. And she makes these. She actually made this one for a tournament, but she makes personalized ones and stuff too. So look her up on Facebook. Y-Dry Chalk Bags, I think is what it's called. Look her up on Facebook. She can hook you up. And the last thing, probably the most important thing to me in my bag, is my 1985 World's Mini. This was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it glows in the dark better than anything I've ever seen. And it has a little spot to write your name on it. I've been through like 3 of these, and they're not cheap to replace, but I'll never go to a tournament without one of these. So whenever you come to Keeper of the Chains in Wichita, you'll see this on the ground for every shot. And I believe that is it. Other than that, just a bunch of junk, bunch of trash. I keep my side pockets, cup holders, everything full of trash so you don't litter on the course. These bags come with like a million pockets, so use every one of them. Make sure that you're not littering on the courses. And check out the Keeper of the Chains tournament coming up in Wichita. It's every year. Like I said, it's the biggest payout in the area, and Duck does an awesome job. So I want to thank my sponsors, Innova Champion Discs, Ducks Pro Shops, and ThrowersChoice.com, and we'll see you out there.